Have you been thinking about selling your home? Excited about how sellers are having an advantage in this market, but concerned because you're worried that maybe your home will sell faster than you can find a new home to move into? Well, that's what today's conversation is about. We're going to talk about options you may have available that will make it possible for you to buy your next home before you sell the home that you're currently in. So join us as we explore some options with Todd Galde and CrossCountry Mortgage. I'm so excited to have Todd Galde here with me with CrossCountry Mortgage, and he's going to be sharing with us a way that he can help sellers make that bridge, and no pun intended, to buying their new home when they also have a home to sell. Hey, Todd, how's it going?
It goes great, Sharon. Thank you so much. And this really is an honor and to be on screen with you as we've done in the past. I do get a thrill from sharing these opportunities with your sphere and my sphere. Mm-hmm. And this topic is a hot one right now.
Yes.
And I enjoy talking about the solutions and helping people bridge the transaction. And they call it bridge for a reason.
Exactly.
But thank you for the opportunity. Yeah. I'll just kind of share with you really quick my background as it relates to this concept. And I'll try to encapsulate this as quickly as possible because I've seen prior to COVID, I had this buy before sell message in 2019 that was very successful for me in terms of reaching out to realtors like yourself. In fact, that message is what connected us prior, in 2019.
Yes.
And so I've been able to not just create this message, but really master the different ways with which people can make this transition, this bridge between their existing home, what we call their departing residence, and their new home. And my point with bringing up the history is fast forward to 2021, and here we are, almost into the fourth quarter.
And it's been a fast ride.
Yeah, it's been a fast ride. Yeah. But almost every real estate brokerage in town now has their own partnership or relationship with a bridge lender, mm-hmm. or some sort of their own unique solution that they think will help enable people to make this transition. And even back in 2019, I prided myself on creating a solution that nobody else had. And even to this day, using the special loans that we have access to that don't require any income or employment for qualifying, that in and of itself sets itself apart from all of the bridge lenders that are out there, because pretty much every other bridge out there requires qualifying, and which means your income and your employment come into play. And that's great for people that can actually qualify. Mm-hmm. But as you and I both know, because we've had conversations with borrowers like this, many people are retired.
Right.
They've been in their home for 30 plus years. They've amassed a ton of equity. Right. And maybe they've got a little bit of a nest egg in savings or 401k, but for the most part, they've been paying down that mortgage, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and as a result, they've transitioned out of gainful employment, and they've got their Social Security and maybe a little bit of pension, and they think, hey, now won't the lenders love all this equity and give me a loan in order to make my purchase happen? Mm-hmm. No, not conventionally.
Right.
Sorry, right? Not conventionally. And so, to cap off this part of our discussion, the other options that are out there, for the most part, require qualifying. So like the retired person has to have income with which to qualify for the bridge financing. Whereas I've created a solution that doesn't require any income or employment. It really utilizes the equity in their departing residence and then the new home as well as good credit. We want to see, responsible borrowers.
Right.
So
and that's a really important distinction because, of course, with videos and talk about the bubble bursting and everything.
Yes.
And one thing I don't know that a lot of people don't understand about what happened in 2008 really had to do with those subprime loans and people just kind of being handed money without really fully verifying that they had the ability to repay it. But in this situation, we're talking about people who have been paying their mortgage over 20, 30 or more years. They've built a lot of equity. They've now moved into an age of retirement where perhaps they're not working. And as you said, so I'm just reiterating, they're living on Social Security or maybe a pension. And so they're on a limited income that would generally not qualify them to get the mortgage they would need in order to buy their new home. And where this really ties in is the way that inventory has been low. We could put their home on the market, and if their home, goes into contract in 5 days, now they're like, uh-oh, what do I do now?
Right.
Because it's not even so much that, okay, great, their home went on, their home went into contract and, they're going to have the cash available, but a lot of buyers are having a hard time just getting their contracts accepted. So they're worried, okay, well, how hard is it going to be for me to get a contract accepted in this competitive market? And so that's really kind of what we're buying them is that time so that they can go ahead and make that equity available, get out there and start writing their offers and competing to get that new home in contract and be able to take advantage of the equity they have to do that so that when their home does go into contract, they don't have to worry about closing and being homeless and having nowhere to go.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. So I wanted to make that clarification so that people don't start saying like, wait a minute, this is like back then. It's like, no, not quite. So
Oh, no, I love that clarification. I appreciate you bringing that up because there's always people that say, oh, great, here we go again, right? Whenever I mention no income and no employment. But I make this statement every time. If this loan, I call it the 9 loan, by the way, 9 being the acronym that stands for no income, no employment.
Okay.
Because there isn't a technical word for this loan, so I kind of branded it. So when I mentioned that there's no income and no employment with this 9 loan, I tell people that if they go back to 2007 and 2008 and they really think about it, the 3 things that caused the collapse, if you will, were lending money to borrowers that had one of 3 things, no equity, right? So that we were doing
that's the big one,
Yep. Poor credit, right? So we were lending 100% financing to people who were missing, they're missing their car payments and missing credit card. We didn't care, right?
Right.
So and the third one was no cash, right? They had no money. I mean, I remember 103% financing to cover all the closing costs.
Exactly. And they were stating their income.
Yes.
So I could just say, I make $150,000 a year,
Exactly.
And I didn't necessarily have to verify that. So,
Right. So my point is the 9 loan is the opposite. It's literally the opposite of those stories. You have to have equity, you have to have good credit, and you've got to have some cash. You need to have a little bit of liquidity on the sidelines. And there's ways, if you don't have it, that we can use the equity in the home. But for the most part, we want to see some reserves. Right?
What's the range of equity that is ideal for this situation?
The number that I use when I'm pulling data from farms and from different neighborhoods is 60%.
Okay.
So if the borrower has a 40% loan to value or less, they're golden.
Okay.
Yeah, because that gives us 60% of equity with which to work with. But I really want to emphasize the what you had alluded to, which is the type of person who this solution meets the needs of, and the amount of people that fit this criteria. They're retired, no loan against their home, and they want to make this transition, but they can't. And my point with this is there's got to be a paradigm shift for people.
Mhm.
And when they're sitting at the kitchen table thinking about, okay, honey, we want to make this change, all of the things that come up, they don't think about buying before selling. It's not even,
Right.
it's not even a concept, because they can't, there's no way anybody will give me a loan. I have no income. And so how am I going to make this transition? And so they stop thinking about it.
Right.
I think it's a huge number of people that are in that situation.
And yeah, and to piggyback on that, you're right. And especially here in the East Bay, where a lot of people have lived in their homes for a very long time. The area I'm in, which is Central County, Alameda, Castro Valley, especially Hayward, San Lorenzo, you've got a lot of people who have been in their homes for a very long time. And home values here are just so high, they're higher than they have ever been. And you have people who, like you said, they're empty nesters. They're in 3 and 4 bedroom homes that are probably much larger than what they actually need. Their kids are probably moved out of, the area or out of state, because of jobs or work or other reasons. And they may want to move closer to their families. But like you said, that they're thinking like, well, but I'm not going to be able to get a loan to buy another property, or I could sell my house, but then where am I going to stay until I find another house?
Right.
And so this is, again, another way that they can factor that piece in. The other thing too, and I'm not going to go way off on this rabbit trail, but for those people who have also been staying put because they were concerned about their property taxes. Now since Prop 19 has gone into effect, people who want to stay in California and yet want to maybe move, lots of people are migrating up, into the Central Valley, up into Roseville and Sacramento area. And again, they may have children or other family members that they'd like to move close to. They can take that tax basis with them and again, take advantage of this program so that they can downsize if they want to. Or in some case, I worked with a retiree who was actually upsizing, but she wanted to move out of the area. So it just gives them another option so that they don't think that they don't have a way out if they're trying to figure out how they can make a move.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, one last thing.
Yeah,
and what it does too is it's an opportunity to bring much needed inventory to the Bay Area market. So you have a lot of families that are looking for homes that are adequate to meet the needs of their family. A lot of people who, especially now that they're working from home, they're looking for, at minimum 3 bedroom, 4 or more bedrooms. But because the market's so tight, those are the homes that are really having a lot of competition because people need an extra room for an office, or maybe families are coming together. And so they need more space to accommodate multi-generational families. And so as those people who are maybe 1 or 2 people living in a big 4 or 5 bedroom house that they're empty nesters, this brings inventory that's needed for families that are here in the Bay Area to the market as well. So there's so many ways this can be beneficial to many different people.
Absolutely. And it's just a matter of getting the word out.
Right.
And that's
what we're doing.
What we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So, the last comment that I'll make with regards to the distinction of what you and I are bringing to, to these homeowners is our ability and our desire to customize a solution.
Yes.
If you're with one particular real estate brokerage versus another, they may each have their own bridge financing solution, but it's very specific. And if you don't fit into that box, but you've got a whole bunch of equity, you're kind of left out in the cold. And so what you and I bring is a customized solution. And so, for example, we can do what's called cross collateralization, where we cross 2 properties with 1 loan, right? So if they don't have, let's say, a down payment, which you don't need, then we can cross both properties with 1 loan. If they have 25% down and they just want to put 25% down with no income and no employment, we can do it that way. There's a whole bunch of ways with which, and that's the beauty of what you and I are bringing is our desire to customize. I'll hammer that word, customized solution for buying before selling.
Right.
And
I'm glad you bring that up because the one thing I try to remind people is like every situation is very unique to whatever
Yes.
that specific person's needs are, your timeline. I mean, it really comes down to what is it that you need? What's the goal that you have? And how do we bring these solutions together to help you be successful at reaching your ultimate objective?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So I actually created buybeforesell.com. And so we'll include that link on the
You'll see it down below
on the video. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that and buybeforesell.com has an array of the different solutions that you and I bring to homeowners, and many of them might find some great value in engaging with this and giving us a call.
Yeah. And that's the thing, we want to just let you know that there's an option available. And again, because it's a custom program, the main thing would be to do, give Todd a call to find out what solution would be the best fit for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So excellent. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it was funny because a colleague of mine was in this very situation, and she's like, I need someone who can, and I'm like, you got to call Todd, And so, that it's nice to know that, what, I got someone who can do this, to have resources available so that as I meet with people, I should say, and I learn about what their situation is, I'm like, oh, you know what? I've got a resource that will be able to meet that need. And that's really, again, why, I call Todd and say, hey, let's have a conversation about this, because I don't know if people know that they have an option like this available.
Right. No, I agree. I don't think most people don't.
And I've worked with Todd on quite a few deals.
Yes.
He is awesome. Anyway.
Likewise. So that's why I continue to come back to Sharon. And having these videos done is just so much fun.
Yeah. So thank you all for taking a few minutes to watch this. If you have any questions at all, our contact information is right below. Give us a call and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Indeed. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Thank you. You all have a great day.
Have a good night.